Good afternoon. Let me post this link over to X or Twitter in case people want to jump on and watch it while it's live. All right, this is Emperador Maximiliano. Just going to do a short live stream trade review from today's session. Had a really good thesis going into today, and it played out very nicely. I had a few questions about it, so just want to go over that. To start out, the first thing I just want to look at and just show you guys. So this is something I noticed yesterday. Something I looked into, and then I started building my thesis around it. So this is our NQ daily chart. There is, the start of this basically big bull run we've had. But here's our daily chart. And first thing I'm going to show you is this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green days in a row. An incredible streak. But that automatically, and actually by this day I was already kind of starting to think it, but once I saw this yesterday, once we broke over kind of this previous high, and we've gone 8 days now, I was like, what, we've got to be close to the record. So the first thing I did was pull up Edgeful. So I'm on futures over here because that's the daily chart that I'm looking at on NQ. The report type is price action, green and red streaks. It's right here under performance tracking, green and red streaks. And I want you to look at this. So the maximum amount of green days that we've had over the last 2-year time frame. If I change this to 3-year, this number actually goes up to 10. But in the last 2 years, it's 9, and we just had 8. I just counted out and showed you guys 8. Now, even to add one further step, this right here is the average, 2.31. So obviously we're like, 3x, more than 3x the average. Basically, we would have been going close to 4 times our average range, or our average amount of green days in a row. So alarm bells are going off in my head, right? I mean, this is a crazy move. But now I can put some data behind it and say, wow, well, the most that we've had over the last 2 years is 9. We have to be getting close to some type of red day. So that was kind of the first thing coming in today. I'm thinking, okay, and it doesn't have to be a big red day. So what I was thinking, and I sent this out to some people last night, that I thought we would have a red day, a red close at least. But hey, maybe we can get a just a red doji, right? So it doesn't have to just be, as strong as the market's been, right? I didn't see any reason for it to sell off hard. I just thought that, we're getting to a point where the data tells me that we should have some type of red day, some type of light pullback at least, and some natural profit taking. Anybody that got long anywhere in here, or if they saw this and saw this as a flag and got long here, any of these people are going to start taking profit. Now, the other thing I'm going to show you guys that went into this is this gap. So we have right here, basically, we had a gap, and it's kind of the last gap. If you look over here, kind of the last gap that we had to fill. There was a couple here, there was one here, and you see, pretty much every time we filled a gap, right here, we shot back down. So, you see we filled the gap, and we shot back down. Right here we filled it, and I think intraday we had a little bit of a reaction, but this was a very strong day. It went on, but either way, this was the last gap that we had, so I drew that out as well, and I put a horizontal line at the top of this candle, so at the bottom of the gap and at the top of the gap, and then I went ahead and shaded it in with a box just for the visual. And I'm going to zoom in here in just a minute so you guys can see this a little bit closer. And then this level right here that I have, 811, it was a low right here. There was some previous stuff back here. I had this level drawn for a while, so I went and I double checked it this morning. I kind of liked it as a place today. Yesterday we slightly hesitated at that level during the middle of the day, and then blew on past it a little bit. So I thought this would probably be a level to come back and test at some point, and that's exactly pretty much where we closed the day too. So, and then I have a lower level down here, previous high, some some support and resistance right here. So maybe that's a target for tomorrow, but let's focus on today's trade. So just wanted to give you the context there. So going into the day, I'm looking for some type of red close, a doji, especially if we filled this gap up here. So if you look at the top of our daily candle, I mean, that's about as close as you're going to get, right? And then when I zoom in here in a minute, you're going to see it's even clearer picture because we did this in the Globex section. We came back actually right there at open, right at the top of the hour. So right when my 30-minute orb was getting set, that's where we basically rejected right there, and it was to the tick, which on a $19,800 instrument, that is a it's a pretty exact fill. So let's zoom in a little bit here and take a look at how the day went. So turn on my orb indicator. This is shows you kind of our opening candle. Now let's back up here. When we first filled the gap last night, around 3:30 a.m. Eastern, we did reject it. So as soon as we got up here, we rejected it. We came down, actually a pretty big rejection there. So there was obviously some interest in this gap being rejected. Now when this happened and then we started coming back up, I was a little bit nervous this morning. I thought maybe we would reject right here. We did not, but anyway, so this is what I was seeing. Beginning of the day, we had a very strong move, and we basically got continuation. But once we got up here near the top, I started taking some starter positions here, and I was just going to say, okay, I want to be short off at this level. I really don't want it to break this high. So I was kind of thinking, okay, my stop's going to be right up in here, fairly tight, risk to reward, and look for this to come back down. And let me turn on, not VWAP, let me turn on the EMAs here. So we got a little extended from the EMAs, so that kind of gave me some confidence that, hey, we're probably going to come back. So this candle being so far away from these EMAs a little bit. And then look how perfect this rejection was. So not only was this right at, when our orb high was getting set, so this is the last candle before 10 a.m. So my 30-minute orb, you can see, is highlighted here. And so when I got short here, I was looking for this move, and I immediately took a trim right here. And we did bounce back, and then once we came through this, basically felling the gap, that's where I was immediately excited for this position. Let me turn on the rest of my indicators here and show you guys some more stuff. So how I managed this trade, we did have VWAP, the midpoint of the orb and some stuff. So I was trimming here. I was taking some more trims here. And then once we got down here to this outer VWAP band, I was also trimming. But my target, my main target was about down in this area. So, go from orb to orb. And so I was out probably half my position around here. I took a couple little small trims. I was out at least 3/4 of my position by here, and I just held some runners just to see where we could go. Now, you guys know I love the fib retracement tool. Look at that right there. So when I was looking for some downside levels, let me turn off some of this so we can see this a little bit better. So when I saw this come down here and start to fail, I drew this because we had fully retraced this move already. So I wanted to see how far it can go. The other thing is my pivot points. I talk about pivot points all the time. This was the pivot point. I can zoom out. You can see the pivot points here, S1 and R1 up there. But you see this blue line right here is actually the pivot point. So that was my kind of pretty much my ultimate target. I think I had like 1 or 2 micros left just in case this thing continued down. But right here was pretty much my ultimate target. And then when I drew this fib level and saw this, I was like, okay, I need to start getting out here. And then how perfect of a bounce on a fib. This is the 1.618 extension. And I mean, how perfect of a bounce that was. We came right back up. This is the 0 line. So this is also happened to be the line that I drew on that daily chart earlier, right there at 811. We rejected it, which was, basically the pre-market low. If you go back and look, this is the whole Globex section up here. So this is basically the London session low up until this point. May have been the entire let's see, London session closed right in here. So basically, yeah. But either way, this was our pre-market low. So those of you that are looking at QQQ, that was also our pre-market low. And then once we started reclaiming and holding this level, I was like, okay, I probably need to get out of shorts here and wait. And you can see we actually came back up to the 618 fib right here. So I was kind of looking at this 850, kind of a whole psychological level. You saw it was kind of a level here earlier in the day, right around that same spot. We also, I think we closed yesterday somewhere right in here as well. Yeah, in between 50 and 60, that area. So I had some confluence there as well. Now let me redraw this fib. So we're going to draw it the other way now because we made the complete move. We actually reclaimed, got back inside the orb here. So, you know, right here, you could have gone long and got a really nice long trade here back towards VWAP. And you can actually see the EMAs. We've reclaimed the EMAs, got over them right here. So this was actually a nice counter trade if anybody got on this. I personally, because of that data earlier and knowing this right here was where we closed yesterday, my theory was that we were going to close the day below this level right here, below yesterday's close. We were going to have a red close just based on that data. Once again, I showed you guys from Edgeful, just based on this right here. If we're at number 8 and the most we've even seen in the last 2 years is 9, I'm just thinking, and I know things have been super bullish, but this is just what I'm thinking in my head is we're due for it. So I'm going to lean that direction, right? Can't ignore what the chart's telling me, what's in front of my eyes, but at the same time, I'm still going to lean in that direction and chase my strongest thesis going into the day. So now let's draw this the fib the other direction because I took a second short here that I called out, and as you see, this was halfway back of the day's range, and then this right here, the 618. This is a golden fib or the golden retrace. We hit that perfectly. So once we got to 50, I started taking a little bit of a short here. I added when we hit this here, and then this candle, it started peaking above a little bit. We kind of stayed under that yesterday's close, so I got short a little bit more and actually had a decent sized position. We immediately, let me zoom out a little bit. We immediately came back down to VWAP. Now we are extended from these EMAs, so I'm thinking those are either going to have to catch up like this, or we're going to come back down to them. And once I caught this rejection right here, I think I immediately took a first trim. You know, it's about 15 points right here on this, and then once we flushed through it, we got back to the halfway spot, half back of the day, which you can kind of see it over here to the side. There it is right there, 0.5. So I was out about half right here, and let me take this off so you can kind of see what I was looking for. Let's see, let's turn this off for a second. All right, so once we rejected right here where that fib was, I was looking to come back down here to or below. We did get that, and we got the whole number at 800, so we were taking out another kind of basically a quarter off here or whatever, so we're out about 3/4 of our position. Another little small trim or so down here, and then once we rejected here and stayed under, I stayed in. I think I actually might have added a little bit in right here, probably around this candle. I know Frank did as well on Spaces. We saw this orb failure, you know, tried to reclaim it, failed to hold it, and then immediately rejecting a couple times. So adding in a little bit here, and then we got a nice move back to 750 again, which was that pivot point I was just showing you guys earlier. So that was two very, very good shorts. I was when we came back up here, I was actually wanting to try to add a little bit back in. I was down to very, very, very few. Added a couple back in here, but once we broke over this orb and immediately continued, I was back out of it. You can also see we completely reclaimed the EMAs, and then we stayed above it, reclaimed that orb. So to me, the short was done at that point, so it was time to wait again. Also, you can see on the VWAP band, we were holding, so I talk about this outer VWAP band a lot, guys. You see this right here, rejecting it, rejecting it, rejecting it, rejecting it, trying to reclaim, and then it went. And then right here, it was support for a little bit, and then we lost it, started rejecting it, reclaimed it. So I just kind of use that as a gauge or a possible support or resistance. Maybe a profit taking spot would be one of the good ways to put it as well. And then we did get one more short trade, so 3 short trades today. And once again, we had basically the same setup. We came right back into this again. The way we broke over this high, I didn't really want to try to short it here. I was actually looking for something up in here, maybe even up to here. I was kind of looking for something up here to short, but the way we rejected, or we broke over, but the way we immediately rejected at yesterday's close, so that basically trying to keep the red day theory. And I was also watching QQQ. It was basically at the same spot. It was fighting to go green on the day, and it could have, but with the context I had and with the data that I reviewed this morning going into the day with my thesis, I decided, hey, you know what, I've had 2 good short trades today. I've got a little bit of room to play with this. I'm not going to risk a whole lot, but I did take a trade here. I think right in here I got short. It kind of worked out, and I added a little bit back in right here with a very, very tight stop. And then you see we really struggled right at that golden retrace again, and then the overhead. So this was basically yesterday's close. So I had that as kind of confluence that we were going to stay red on the day. And then you can see we got back to VWAP here, which was also the 0.5 fib. We bounced, rejected the same spot, came back to it, and started falling through it. Finally, here right at the close, we got back to or below, and I had so I was looking at this right here. So this is basically the 800 level. I wanted to front run that a little bit. I went with 804, and it worked out because I kind of looked left and just saw there was kind of some other spaces over here where 803, 804 had been an area. So I was like, well, maybe they stopped short of 800. So I did just put that round 804 for kind of that final fill, which worked out nicely. Doesn't always work out that way. I was kind of expecting that last contract of M&Q to get stopped out, but either way, we had 3 really nice trades. If we were in at the highs here, I was out pretty much everything I had other than maybe 1 or 2 micros I had a 20 something I think lot, but about 175 points or so that we got there. On this trade here, average was right around 850, 853. We took our final trim there right at 100 points, and then a nice final trade right in here that we got about 61 points. So it was a really good day shorting. I know shorts aren't always fun. Some people don't care for it. Some people don't do it, but I try to play both sides of the market. I definitely enjoy how fast the shorts move, but one of the main things that I do like seeing is when we make a thesis going into the day and we have a fairly strong, thesis and confidence in that theory of it playing out, that we lean into it and we execute. So that's what worked out. And so, I mean, just to quickly summarize here, look at this daily. Let me turn off all these indicators. 8 candles right here, straight up, basically 8 green closes, knowing that this was getting very close to this. And then just as important, it's, sometimes I look and see if we're double this, maybe triple, but with the fact that we were almost at 4x the average green days, I was looking at that going, okay, we're due, and yeah, maybe we could have gone one more green day and that would have been fine. Obviously I'm looking at what is on the chart in front of me, but that was just, I thought there was a high probability that we would have a red doji today, and that's what we got. So worked out nicely. If if I'm looking here, which I have more levels, I just hid them to make this a little bit more clear. This right here is going to be a huge level, I think, for us to come down to. So honestly, I would like to see something kind of like this happen over the next couple days. It's kind of hard on a let's go to like a 4-hour chart and see if I can draw this out a little bit better. So I would like to see something something like this kind of play out and get us back into 600-ish right there. So that's kind of what I would be looking at going into. I mean, that this is just a rough estimate, so don't pay attention to the time frame on this. But I'm thinking we come back and test this area, you know, kind of fill this part in a little bit, but come back to test this area down here and see what happens. See how quick we get there, how slow we get there. I think the market is very strong and bullish, but I think we'll have some natural profit taking. And if this could set up into some type of some type of bull flag on the daily, going into Friday we have Powell speaking in the morning, but then we have Nvidia earnings next week. So if we play out something like this and then start to go back up this direction, I think that would be beautiful for the bigger picture trade. I think it would make life a little bit easier for a lot of us trading, and it's never that straightforward. But if we got this red candle, maybe another red candle here and here, so we kind of have, even if that third one we like wick down and still closed up right here, so still within side of this day, I think that's going to be super bullish, especially if we're closing over this. So if we keep all the candle closes above this, I think that's going to be a super bullish look of here's our flagpole, here's our little flag, and go. So that's kind of my overall thesis for what we're going to see. Obviously, we got data coming out the rest of the week, so we'll continue to watch that. But anyways, just wanted to go through that quick trade review and go try out Edgeful. I'll leave a link down low. We did a beautiful live stream with them yesterday where Andre went over a lot of the things that they offer, but this is one of my favorite reports, and any of you that do use Edgeful, highly recommend checking this one out under price action. Green and red streaks. You can look and you can see how many max green days in a row. That's the average. Same with the red days. And anytime you get close to one of these numbers, if you start getting close to the maximum, you get to double or triple this, then I definitely say, well, it's time to look for a reversal type of day, right? So once again, wasn't looking for a big flush today. The market is very strong, but I was looking for some type of pullback, some type of red candle, at least a red close, and that's what we got. All right, guys, appreciate all of you that have tuned in, or those of you that may watch this back later. We will catch all of you on Spaces first thing in the morning. Appreciate you guys.